Alright, just finished filming that really dumb Game of Thrones video, so this video is either coming out right after it or it came out the next day. Probably the next day. I still have editing to do for my work. So we are going to be talking about this. You guys might have already heard of it at this point because it was kind of developing today, but it is the Bartstool Sports DCMA issue from somebody named Miel, or Miel. My French brain wants to call her Miel. Okay, I just went and found a video. It's Miel. So Miel is currently dealing with an issue with Bartstool Sports where they posted one of her videos and didn't give her credit. So let's actually just kind of go through this entire story. It's wild. It's kind of wild. So kind of reading through some of her tweets here. So in December, they re-uploaded one of my videos without credit. I asked for credit, was ignored, and then I filed a DMCA takedown. Twitter quickly took it down, and immediately Barstool's social media guy sends me an email. I don't respond. He emails again in early February. I don't respond. So basically, she tried to reach out to them to get a proper credit. They didn't respond to her. And then she kind of took it to that next level, told Twitter, hey, this is my property, and they pulled the video. Now, this is kind of a huge issue right now. There are a lot of different Instagrams, Twitters, that kind of aggregate other people's content and put it out there, and then they make money off of it. Some people are lucky enough to make money on Twitter platforms and stuff like that, where Twitter actually pays them for promoted posts. So that kind of gives them a little bit more, it becomes less of like meme culture, where you kind of take things and share it around, and people can be like, yo, you stole that from me. But like in these situations when you're actually making money, you kind of have to do your due diligence to make sure that you have permission of the person who created the video. So for example, recently there was like a huge explosion over the Fuck Jerry Instagrams where they were like blatantly stealing people's like jokes and making money off of them and claiming that they were coming up with it themselves, and then got called out on multiple occasions, and then eventually kind of had to start admitting that, yeah, they were taking things and everybody, they suck, don't support them. They had to get a bunch of their like Comedy Central ads pulled and everything. It was kind of wild. So let's read what the Barstool media people said to Miel. So, hi Miel, somebody from my team posted your video by mistake without credit. That was not our intent to do that on purpose. Is there any way you could reach out to Twitter to remove that strike and we could repost your video with full credit? Thank you, Chuck Nasso. So at this point, she's obviously upset because they didn't respond when she initially talked to them, just asking them to add credit, and they just completely disregarded what she said. And now that she actually went further with that DMCA takedown, now they're actually reaching out. So she didn't answer them, got another one early February saying, hey Miel, I know it's been a while since this last email. I would love to find a resolution to this takedown notice from Barstool Sports. Maybe if we posted another one of your videos to our accounts for exposure, you could remove the strike. Let me know. Think this could be beneficial for both of us. Thanks, Chuck. So I have an issue with this. This really just becomes the like, hey, you know, we stole your stuff last time, like regardless of the scenario, if somebody sent it to us, we didn't do our due diligence to make sure that it was ours, and we ignored you when you contacted us saying that it was your, you know, copyright, but we'll pay you an exposure by putting one of your other videos on our platform if you just remove that strike. Because obviously it's got to be similar to YouTube. If you get enough strikes on Twitter, you lose the ability to you know, post promoted content like this, and you actually just might lose access to your Twitter. So she didn't answer, and this is like kind of the only area where somebody could kind of put up a stink, because on one hand, she doesn't really have a responsibility to respond. She gave them a chance to give her credit. They didn't give her credit. She did the DMCA. That's it. She doesn't really have a responsibility to answer at that point, but because she did not respond, it kind of opened up some other opportunities, which we'll get to in a second. And by opportunities, I mean opportunities on their behalf. So let's kind of continue on with what she was saying here. So then a few weeks later, some new legal dude emails me and offers me a $50 gift card to the Barstool online store. I'm gonna be real. If somebody's coming at you with a legal takedown because you use their copyrighted material and you realize that, hey, offering them exposure isn't gonna cut it, please do not make the next stage a $50 gift card to your own online store. You couldn't even just be like, pick out whatever you want from our store and you can have it. It's just a $50 voucher. And then she went on to say, if I will simply lie and retract my fact-based DMCA report. So basically they wanted her to remove it, being like, oh no, they didn't actually take my copyright, whatever. So here's the statement. Hi, Miel. I'm the general counsel of Barstool Sports, and Twitter notified us of your DMCA complaint for tweet with the unauthorized publication of your video. Many of our social media accounts feature user-submitted videos or photographs, and we rely on our fans, readers, and followers to submit their videos that they would like to see shared on our account with our followers. While it is our policy to respect others' intellectual property rights and only post content that we have been given explicit authorization to use, in rare cases, users send us content and misrepresent the origin of the video. And we post it with the genuine but mistaken belief that we have the right to post. Which again, she tried to contact them, they ignored her. You know, that's kind of, you should have somebody looking out for this kind of stuff, especially if you repost this kind of stuff. Without waiver of any rights or admission of guilt, we'd like to offer you a $50 gift card to our online store if you would retract your DMCA complaint on Twitter. Ballsy. Ballsy. So then I guess she started getting mass messaged on Twitter by various accounts. Then the full-on harassment begins. I didn't screenshot all the messages before deleting, but across my IG, my Twitter, my email, my podcast, Instagram, Twitter, and email, they send these messages, hundreds. I block them. They find me again. I still don't respond, saying, we will send you $500 to do this right now. See Barstool Sports DM. See Barstool Sports DM. See Barstool Sports DM. See Barstool Sports DM. What is wrong with you? She's probably, you just kind of got to realize that she doesn't want to acknowledge you. I get that it's a problem, but sending her messages from multiple accounts is not the appropriate way to deal with this situation, and I understand at this point why she would want to block them and answer them even less. Again, though, by not answering them, she is kind of hurting herself in a paper trail sort of way. Not that it's a weird thing. She's not in the wrong, but she kind of unintentionally made the situation harder on herself. So then at this point, they offer to promote her podcast. They keep emailing and messaging. She keeps blocking, turns off DM requests and stuff like that. And then they offer her $500 to deal with it right now. So then I guess there was 2 weeks of silence, and then she got a email from Mark Maron saying, Dear Miel, we are anxious to settle this matter. To that end, we are willing to pay you $2,000 if you will retract the DMCA notice. I look forward to your response. In the meantime, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. So really upping it from a $50 online gift card to just $2,000 hard cash. That would be hard for most people to pass up, but Miel has more integrity than most of us. It's shocking. So when she didn't answer that one, within hours, she got this message from Twitter, which says, hello, we have received a DMCA counter notice copied at the bottom of this email regarding the materials reported on the Twitter account Barstool Sports. We will cease disabling access to the materials within 10 business days unless we first receive notice from you that you have filed an action seeking a court order to restrain the subscriber from engaging in infringing activity relating to the material posted on the identified Twitter account. So basically, like, they're countering that it's yours, and you have to actually elevate this to a court of law if you want to protect your copyrighted material. And honestly, they might have done this anyways if she had answered earlier on, just being like, hey, nope, I'm not interested in removing my copyright strike. You used my material without my permission. I gave you a chance to give me credit. You did not. I'm keeping it up. It's a valid strike. It's a valid takedown request. You literally just reposted my content without giving me credit. So basically, unless she gets a court order, the video will be back on their site and they win. So I guess their actual counter notice to Twitter was as followed. We believe that this material was removed as a result of an error. The content shown in the video was sent to us from a user who claimed to have full rights to license and assign the content to us to post on our account. After receiving this DMCA notice, we reached out multiple times through multiple platforms to attempt to resolve the issue directly with Miel, but Miel has not responded to any of our attempts to communicate and even blocked us from DMing without justification. Unless and until Miel elects to engage in a discussion to determine whether we had rights to post the video, we continue to assert that we had the rights to post the content that was removed. So I guess because she didn't actively say, you know, if you didn't get it from my DMCA notice where I said you were using my copyright without my permission, after I asked you guys to properly credit me and you ignored me, unless you actively say that again to them, that message does not get home to them. So they even went on to say, I have under penalty of perjury that I have a good faith belief that the material was removed or disabled as a result of a mistake or misidentification of the material. Dudes, this is so crappy. It's like, I understand you guys want to protect your website and your brand and whatnot. But you know how you don't protect your brand? Doing this, taking people's content. And I understand that everybody's, usually when it comes to a YouTube thing, when it comes to copyright situations, everybody's like, oh my God, it's a false copyright. You are copywriting somebody's material that you don't own. They have fair use in this situation, but this is somebody just flat out taking a video and reposting it to their followers and not giving credit. This is not transforming it in nature. This is not, critiquing it, commenting on it, implementing it into something new. And a lot of the times when people implement something into something new, they'll still give credit to the original content and the original video or the original creator of something. They didn't even do that. So this is just a really, really messy situation. So a quick update here from the actual founder of Bartstool Sports, Dave Portnoy, where he actually said, where Barstool went wrong is that when she refused to respond and it became clear that she had no intention of speaking with us, we should have ended it. Unfortunately, Barstool Sports has idiots in our company, much like many other companies, and those idiots acted like idiots. I regret our lawyer offering a $50 gift card to our store, not because it's illegal in any manner, but it's just so moronic and makes us look like assholes. That's why lawyers should not be on social media. So really, actually a really good response there. Very, very on brand for Barstool, and just possibly the best response. It doesn't really fix the situation in any way, shape, or form, but yeah, good response, solid response. And unfortunately, by her going radio silent, she unintentionally gave them a little bit more to latch onto by making it seem like she just didn't care. But the argument that because she didn't respond, meaning she doesn't care, clearly she cared if she issued the takedown. So this is just kind of a big old mess. Barstool broke the law. They uploaded content that was not theirs. They did not do their due diligence in figuring out if they had permission from the person who submitted the video. You gotta realize, a lot of people submitting videos like that is just gonna be kids being like, I saw this funny video. You should put it on Barstool. And so then instead of them being very easily able to try to track down the person who owned it, they just posted it thinking that it was theirs. I can kind of see where they're coming from. If it was just a genuine mistake of them not doing their due diligence, it really sucks. But, companies like that do kind of have the bearing of responsibility to do the due diligence to make sure they're properly crediting people. And by not doing that, this is what kind of happens as a result. And now there's a situation where it looks like if she doesn't actually elevate it to court, they can continue using her copyrighted material and then just kind of set the precedent that they can just do this whenever. But hey, Barstool, I am totally willing to accept $2,000 for any video you put up of mine. That's the only way you can. You don't have any interest in any of my content? Okay. That's cool. So that is going to do it for today's video. Let me know what you guys are thinking in the comment section down below. Thanks, as always, to my Patreons. You guys are awesome. And to anybody who's watching, you guys are also awesome. Everybody's awesome. Thank you so much for watching. Have a fantastic day. We'll catch you all later.